Hello and welcome. Tonight is Megalodon night. Megalodon, Mega something Don. We are doing a shark tonight. So in honor of all things sharky, because it's Shark Week, it is the end of Shark Week. It's been Shark Week all week. I just wanted to do something fun tonight. I did not plan well. This is like the story of my Friday night dinos. Let's see what we're gonna come up with. So we are gonna do this guy. Check this out. His little mouth goes open and closed. I do not have a photo yet on FridayNightDinos.com. I was gonna just kind of put him down here today so you can see him. We'll work with him a little bit. I may just take a photo real quick. I'll do a quick photo of this dude. And which way do we like him? Do we like him to the side? Do we like him this way? And I'm probably going to just throw this up real quick. Complete with the background on my desk. I think it needs to be a little more like he's coming at you with his big jaw, right? Shouldn't we have something like that? Or maybe I'll hold him up and we'll have, no, that's not very helpful. Okay, so these are a little bit distracting. I need to get my other tool and take weird pictures of things. While we're at it, I did wear my shark shirt today. So check it out. I'll show you guys here in a second. So there's my shark. It's got sharks. Da-dum, da-dum. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. I thought that was kind of fun to have the shark going on. I should just paint him in my paint water. That would kind of work and be hilarious. But we're gonna do a side shot and then maybe, oh, that's kind of nice. Him coming at you. And boy, I think we really need to do something where he's swimming up in the water. Let's see if I can get him propped right. I don't think I can. Not really. So we'll have to wing it, I guess. But welcome. I hope that your week wasn't too crazy, that you had a good week. I'm going to take this guy down and set it over here. I did pull out, let's see what we've got today. Cold press watercolor paper and a 9x12 drawing surface. So I'm going to move this over here a little bit. And hey, welcome Lebowski. Glad to have you on board hanging out tonight. Let's see, pencils. Most of my pencils are dull. This one looks okay. This one looks pretty good. Let's see what it is. It is a 4B. That's a pretty good start. And I'm going to throw the cover off on this one. And I thought that we would work this way tonight, because I want to do something where the shark is coming up out of the water. So we're just going to play with this. You can kind of see the reflection on my plastic. This is a little piece of plastic that I like to use to keep myself centered on things. So do that. And then we're going to put my Megalodon where you can see him maybe. I think maybe you could see him this way. It's a little hard for me to draw that way, but we're going to go with it. And if anybody is drawing along tonight, let me know if you're drawing along and you need a reference, and I will get that posted. In fact, I can probably get something posted up here pretty quick as far as maybe adding some kind of an image. I need to add another image of a shark. And, oh wait, it's going to take a little more than I thought. Yeah. Yowza. All right. Well, oh, you know what we can do? I know what we can do. We can add a second camera and set him up so that he is propped up somewhere. trying to think if this would be a good way to prop him. I need something sticky like Play-Doh or, you know, something that he could really hang out on. That's pretty good. This isn't bad. Maybe tilt him a little bit. And then I'm gonna bring a camera in so you can kind of see what I've got in front of me. I just have to unweave it a little bit. And let's see. I'll turn it on so you can kind of see. I'm like, which one is it? Let's see. We're gonna add this guy and add a new one, Logitech, and let's see if I can find it first. And there we go. It's pretty red, but we're gonna jump in there. I'm gonna put this down here so you all can see it and try to get it. Of course, he's gonna be like right in my way, which is fine. That's okay. But he needs to be right about there. And then I'll see if I can zoom in on him a little bit. You'll probably see a lot of my hands, which is not necessarily great, but you can see up and then across. And let's see if I can get this guy zoomed. We'll kind of see. I'm gonna go into my settings here. Or not. The best laid plans. I had one heck of a drive home this afternoon. We got a storm that came through and it was scary. I was on the freeway just creeping along with the rest of the traffic that was creeping along through the canyon. We live through a canyon on a mountain, and it was quite the adventure, I have to say. So let's go into zoom, and we're gonna go into like 300% zoom and see how that looks. And let's try 400. No? There we go. Wait, it doesn't seem to really be listening. That's focus. That's focus. All right, so I may give up a little bit. There's always that. I kind of have to tuck him back behind all of this stuff. So he's got to like really get tucked back. It's going to take a minute. How was everybody's week? Okay, good, bad, not great. Oh, I don't think that's gonna work. Well, let's try it. Let's see if I can get it so that you can still see what I'm doing and not this guy. That's pretty much our limit. Is right there. Not the best. I don't think that's very helpful for all of you at all. But we'll go with it. All right. He's like right on the edge. So he's like right there. You'll see him about to bite my finger off. Look at that shark. Arr. So fun. Let's get to drawing. I'm just messing around now. This is ridiculous. Right? Redunculous. We'll see how well I do with this camera right here in front of me. I'm sure I'm gonna bump it 12 times while we're drawing, and then we'll have shaky shaky shark cam. We'll call this guy the shark cam. All right, I've been talking all day. We're gonna have him, let's see, about to scale, and I like him in the center just because. I think we're gonna put in here, I'm gonna have some swimmers up in the water above. So, you know, our water line is gonna be all the way up in here. And then teeny tiny little swimmers and maybe a small boat over in here. I think that would be fun. So if I have this guy coming in here, I first need to size him about right. He's pretty much the size that he is in front of me. I didn't scale him up very much. And you could always make a shark up or look at images of sharks on the internet, see what you like, make your own prehistoric Megalodon. I've heard it said a couple ways. I did not take the time to see what the best correct pronunciation is. So if anybody wants to chime in and help me out so that I don't sound like an idiot every time I say it, you can let me know. His fin's going to be in here. He may not be too hard to draw. I'm looking at him from an angle, so we've got a little bit of foreshortening going on right in here. He's got these gills above this fin, and the gills on the little model are all like bloody, like he's just eaten something and it's come out the side of his gills. Gross. And we're gonna put his nose right in here. There we go. And the side of the back of that mouth. This mouth is gonna go in here, and he's got these great chompers that come up. We could even exaggerate them and make them bigger. Like super sharp teeth. Got all these chompers right in here, and these fantastic chompers up in here. That would be the back of his mouth. This would come up and then over and in here, and he would have they have these creepy little eyeballs. So creepy eyeball right there. Hey August, nice to see you in here. I like the little fishes you put up. Lebowski has some fishes going on. Lots of great chompy fishes. So I'm gonna come in here with his back, and then this fin, I believe this is his dorsal fin? Come on, shark fans. Help me out here on my shark speak. Help me figure out what these shark parts are. This comes in here. Obviously, if I weren't busy all week, I would have binged on information on sharks this week. Alas, I did not. I think his stomach needs to come like that, more like it. And this tail. Remember I said we're gonna have some waves or some water or something going on up here. Movement. But the only way that we can get a scale is to give it a scale. So we need like somebody swimming in the water, undersea. When we get that far, we'll do a little bit of searching on the internet. Here's that guy. Here's this little tail guy. And luckily his swimming tail is just gonna make it right inside the frame. There's a line that comes right through here. And that gives us a really good shark coming up. Now, I'm not sure exactly what it would look like if he was just coming up straight out of the water, if that's realistic or not. But we're going with that. I gotta do a little internet searching now, because what we need is a boat. We need an image of maybe a small sailboat. Image small sailboat. So I'm gonna pull up a small boat, and it could be pretty much anything. I'm just gonna wing it. Sailing it. I wanted a small boat, and I want a couple people in the water to scale with that boat. And I need something somewhat in the waves. And I have to remember this guy, you know, depending on how little teeny tiny these people are, what does that look like? So we've got this boat up here, and maybe his stern is just peeking up. Come down here. And there will be a mast that comes up this way. It's gonna be sideways. I'm gonna put this here, a little piece right on top. It's not gonna be a complicated boat. And then of course the rest of the mast is up in here and comes back. And it's got all kinds of rigging and lines and things that I'll probably want to draw with pen and then erase some of that stuff. Now the people are gonna be really tiny. They're gonna be out here, and we're just gonna put them in the water, and they're gonna be like little tiny. So we've got somebody here, maybe they have flippers on. I'm making this up, guys. There's a little head right there. Head, torso, head's too big. This little teeny itsy bitsy person with flippers. They're gonna have tanks on the back of them. So we'll probably just do that as like a little tiny black line. Put some bubbles. I have some bubbles. I think bubbles are fun. I just kind of put some bubbles in here. A little bit of wave action stuff and some cleanup. This may be a short night tonight. My son's visiting right now, so I'm super excited and would love to spend some time with him. And go in here, erase a little bit, clean this up a little bit, just like that. And I was thinking we would paint with a pretty limited palette tonight. Let me brush some of this off. Ooh, that is the problem with a soft lead pencil. I have to draw with a really soft lead so that you all can see what I'm doing. But if you noticed, I brushed it with a dry paintbrush, and it really just unlocked and went flying. Really made a mess with it, sadly. So now I'm going to try to tap it off. I'll do a little more cleanup over here, maybe a little in here before we add watercolors. I thought watercolors would be fun. Maybe try some limited colors. I'm just gonna pour some out and work with them in a tray lid. I can't even take my vacuum to this because it's gonna smear. This pencil lead is really soft and it's all gonna smear as soon as I take anything to it. So we'll see what we can pull off gently. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with the paint too much. I'm hoping the paint locks the lines in a little bit, because I'd like you to see what I'm painting, right? That would be kind of nice. So, originally I thought I would have a whole bunch of sharks in the water, but I think these guys were pretty much king of the ocean. I do not think that they tolerated very many sharks hanging out with them, and then it would just be a feeding frenzy because they're so big. They need to eat as much as they can. So we're just gonna go with one shark tonight. With that, let's see if I can get, I'm so daring. Look at me, back with this brush again to see if I can get some of the shavings off before we paint. So I want to paint. I think it's fun. Okay, you can kind of see me brushing. Hopefully that doesn't make you seasick to see me brush all the stuff off of there. Okay, we're going with that. So I have my water. I'm gonna pull out a few, just some limited colors in the watercolors to do this. I don't think we need very much. I was gonna look for a Payne's gray, some kind of a gray, some blues, and definitely we need like a red, a really good red. So let's see what we've got here in this tin that my fish is all propped up on. I've kind of put myself in a pickle. Let's see what you can see. We'll do this, and maybe we'll go ahead and do the shark first. Kind of get him painted in. I don't know. This is messy. So messy. Look at that. All my lines are just, it's a never-ending madness. I erase a little more and then I make a bigger mess. So right off the top, I'm gonna see what I've got. This is Rose Madder. Don't know what it looks like. We'll pull it out. Potter's Pink is a nice color, but I don't think it's what we're looking for tonight. I have some blues sitting right on top. I'm really digging for that gray. Oh, and I knocked him over. So we're just gonna set him right there for now. We'll come back to him, and let's look in our little bin of colors so we can pick some colors out that we want to work with. I don't want too many, I want just enough. And I'm gonna pull my blues. This is a carbon black. Payne's gray. Oh, that's kind of nice to have the two, because one's gonna be really cool and one's gonna be carbon's gonna be a little warmer. I can tell just by looking at this that that's really nice. Then this is ivory, which falls a little almost on the yellow side, but I don't know that we need all three of these. And I don't know that we need the turquoise. I do love the turquoise. That might be really nice in the water. So let's take a bit of a look at what we've got. We've got cobalt green, phthalo turquoise, and turquoise cobalt. And I'm thinking the turquoise cobalt falls right in between these two, and we're gonna use that one. And then I don't know that we need a yellow, but I'm debating on adding something like a little bit of raw sienna just to calm some of the colors down if I need to bring them down a little bit. And let's take a look at our blues. What do we have? So we've got turquoise green, but I'm going to use this one, so I don't know that I need both of these. I do like it. It's a nice color for water. We could put just a little bit out for each and see. And then we've got ultramarine deep, which I love. Fairlands blue, those are very close, it appears. And Berlin blue. Man, so we have quite a number of blues in front of me. Reds, sandal red, which is really, really bright. This one is magenta quinacridone. I'm putting that one back. Dragon's blood is beautiful, as well as I have one in here that I've been looking for. It's not Peril Orange. It's not that one. Nope. It may be this Matter that I'm really looking for. So either that or the Dragon's blood. So we'll kind of just start with the shark, add a little bit of blue. Let's add some warm colors in there and play with it a little bit, and we'll see what we get. So I'm gonna set these over here to the side, just kind of in like some color categories, and we'll go from there. So I'm just kind of sitting these over here. I can take this down so you can see these colors right here. And these paints are called My Merry Blue. I've been playing with them and seeing how much I like them. Love to test out materials, see what I'm trying to determine my favorite, and I pretty much love all art supplies. But I'm really trying to nail down my favorite watercolor, and I haven't picked yet. So we will start. I'm going to put a little bit of each of these on this lid. And we don't need much. This is not a big painting. I just need a little bit. And so that I remember what they are, for right now, we're just gonna lay some color in, and I'm gonna lay these right over it. There's a little bit. I have a palette that's filled with most of these. They're not labeled, and they're in pans. I thought it would be kind of nice for us to just work loosely with a little bit of color on a palette today. So that's kind of where we're going. Now, originally I thought, let's play with the Payne's Gray, so we're gonna start there. And I'm gonna get a little bit of clean water. This one right here is Payne's Gray. It leans blue, and I can tell it's way too blue. But I would like some of his, if I look in here, now this guy has some great coloring that you probably can't even pick up on screen. And they're almost like these veins that are riding underneath his grayness. So there's a pattern of this blue underneath that I really liked. Whether or not they had markings or a pattern or anything like what I'm painting or looking at, who knows? So we're just going to come in here and add some of this and get familiar with. Part of this is playing with colors and seeing how they interact together, seeing which ones you like, knowing how blue a Payne's Gray might be if you wanted to use a Payne's Gray. As soon as I watered down, I could see how blue it was. It looked really, really blue. I'm not too worried because I've got 2 more blacks on my palette. So let's take a look at This next one, this is ivory black. And when I thin it down, I can definitely see the difference between the blue and this. I'll lay it right over the blue. I want to see how does it look when I stick it on there. It's a nice darker area in there. Do I want to run a wash over this whole thing? Just build up my colors slow. And we can just layer color on top in different washes. So come in light. He's got some little markings on him. It's not solid all the way. Same in here. Kind of pattern up. Get a little more. And the top of his head will end up darker than the rest. So I will go a little heavier on the black up there. You can see how light some of this is as I put these washes on. Hopefully you can see this variation. Right there. And let's add a little more dark. Oh, I went into the other. Why don't we try it? I just went into the carbon black. Let's see what happens with this carbon black. Now I've got a nice layer of wet paint down. So let's just let it crawl into the other paint. This is carbon black I'm adding on top. It's a good one to make the top of his head a little darker. These great wrinkles coming down. Start adding these guys in. I'm not going to fight the paint too much. I think we'll just let this paint do what it wants. I want to come back into this Payne's gray though and add a little more of it along certain places, like the edge of this. Let's add a little more. Make it stand out. Notice it's crawling around and getting nice and soft in there as it mixes with the other patterns and the water. That. Here's that. Coming down in here, I'm going to add a little more blue all through here in the bottom of this thing, right along this edge. Okay. And then I want the white part to look a little, I don't know, gnarly, dirty. I don't want it white. Now I don't want it gray. So I gotta be a little careful to not put too much color in that. I don't think he'd be stark, bright white at all. stuff in here. Soften this right there, that edge. Get a little more of that darker gray and put that along the edge of this little fin back here. Give them a little more in that one. Now I'm mixing the two blacks to play with. Letting them kind of layer on. Putting some thin lines. We'll see how wet this paper is and how much they soften up. Even his little eye right there. Needs to be a little sharper. Right in there. So he's starting to look good, I think. Okay. Not bad. I'm going to thin out some black and add a little more back in here. Remember I said I was hoping that as I layer this, it sets those pencil lines better. They were very messy. Go back in here and darken the top of this nose again. It's got some ridges. I should wet that so it's not so dark. I want it a little softer right there. Right in there. A little softer. And let's check our reds and see what we've got with our reds to kind of throw a little red on here. I need just the tiniest bit. We don't have a lot. And this one, ooh, that's the color I was looking for. I think mixed with this other one. I have way too much, by the way. So this is called Permanent Matter Deep. And I don't know if you can tell or not. It's right by my finger. It looks a little browner than it is. It's got this red tone to it and it looks like blood. It's so good. So close. I'm just gonna put that on the inside of his mouth, right here. And of course I need to thin it out and pinken it up down below. You know, in between these chompers. Right here. He's got right along the edge of here. And definitely above these chompers. And then we have just a touch in these gills. A little bit right there. Maybe I need a little bit of, just a tiniest little bit of blood in the water. That would be kind of nice. And we may come back and do a little work on him. I'm gonna come up to this sailboat. And remember, I said I needed a little bit of a neutral or a yellow tan color. I'm gonna pull some of that from here. I don't need very much. I'm just gonna put a little bit in there. And I'm gonna start with that on the boat. Really little thin layer along the top, right along in here and there. It went way greener because it mixed with my pencil lead. So I don't like that, but there's not much I can do about it unless I could add later some white gouache And that'll bring it back and add a little bit of light to it. And then underneath the hull, or the front of it, it's like a blue-gray right in here. So we're just gonna add that there. Coming up in the front of the ship. Maybe a little bit of detail back here. Can't really tell what's going on, but there's some stuff going on. We do have a little tiny person in the water. Like that. And just a touch of blue-gray on the sail. Not much. Right, like that. Wash it out a little bit. Just like that. And what does it look like underwater? Let's see. Image. Underwater. We're just gonna say underwater. We'll see what we've got. That's a pretty good idea. So it does get quite cobalt turquoisey with a little bit of like really deep darkness in it. And I'm gonna put in here, I'm gonna move these guys now because I have a good idea of what those are. And I'm just gonna play with these a little bit. So we'll put some of this out. I think this is too opaque. It's not transparent enough. I'm gonna go back in my box because that one is so opaque. And we're gonna check out, what do we got? We've got phthalo turquoise and cobalt green. I think we try this phthalo turquoise. See what we get. That is very nice. And this is another turquoise. Let's see what we got. Ooh, coming out everywhere. So we're gonna have to use a bunch of it, even if we don't like it. It is bright. That's all I've got to say about that. I can see where the other one is green. Green, green, green. So we'll just make a puddle, big puddle. Needs to be just greener. That's much better. And I need to dull it down a bit. I may need more of this raw sienna than I thought. I like the raw sienna a lot. It will make it a little greener. I'm hoping it kind of neutralizes it a little bit. Throw that in there. And we're going to mix it up. Make a nice puddle. More of that. I need more water. All right. And I think I need something that's like a little more of a wild, loose brush. And we're just gonna kind of go at it. I don't want to waste the paint that's on here, but that's pretty bright. It's too bright, I can tell right now. That's okay, we're gonna mix a bunch of stuff in there and knock her down. So it will all be fine. Everything will be fine. Now you'll see how fast I'll go through a puddle of paint like this. Trying to get a little bit of movement and variation. Thin it as it gets closer to him and my little diver. I may just end up coming back with white at the end with gouache. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and try to get this nice and wet. Got my diver. I'm still trying to lock in those pencil marks. And we'll see how fast I can work. Because man, it's so dry here. The stuff dries and then you don't have as much time to do these beautiful washy effects that if it can work into each other, it would build up. So I'm just gonna come in here like this. I want a little bit of movement. These. We'll bring this up, make it darker and darker. I'm gonna add some black as we get more layers on here. It'll take a nice amount of time for it to dry. So I'm hoping that we get a nice amount of time for working into this with our washes. It's quite the big area to kind of work with right now. I could just sample it on one side and see how we do. I want to add a little bit of black into this so that as it gets in here, it's nice and dark and more of this yellow. And really bring this in, especially down in here. I don't know how this is going to dry. I'll add just some of this in here. Bring this up through here on this side. So we can start getting the other side of him painted in. I like this color a lot. So we're gonna go back to a cleanish blue again. Mix that in. I've got the two different turquoises, some yellow. At this point, there should not be much black, if any, in this. I'm gonna come in on this side. Bring that in. Around that little tail. And I want to get this in here before it dries because I don't want lines other than what I choose to add. Let's add some in here. Kind of like the little wisp right there. I'm gonna thin this watercolor down, mix it up real good with my brush. Let's see what we can add in here. Let it work itself in. Add more color, both of these turquoises, add in here a little more of that raw sienna and some more black. And again, coming back in here and adding this in this deep, dark ocean. I'm hoping that it will kind of meld in with everything. It's very wet right now. And I'm going to get light blue. Bring this back. Right over this tail. I want to see how this looks if I bring some of this color over. Will it make him look more in the deep, in the ocean? Maybe. It might. Because I want him to look like he's in the water. I don't want him to stand out completely. I kind of want him to dissolve in there. You know, like this guy is creeping up on you. Not good, right? Like, trying to make a solid kind of puddle of color that I can lay in here and let dissolve in. I like what's happening over here. I think this isn't as quite as nice as it could be. It's not as gentle as I would have liked it to have been. And this is a pretty big brush for me to work around these teeth here. Go in and work over this. That was a little too brushy looking. Let's see how that works when I come into that. Now my paper is soaked at this point. It is so buckly. It's crazy. It's really, really soaked. But there's not much I can do about it, so we're gonna go with it. And I like what it's doing. I like this deep dark color down here. I like this a lot. Coming in on these edges. Just gonna let it do its thing. Look at that. Okay, and I like the surf and these little white areas right in there. I think that's kind of nice. I think that as this dries, he's gonna need some more information and a little darkening on him. So we're gonna come back in on him when that dries. For now, I need to clean off a little area because I want our sky blue really different. I'm gonna make it like a cerulean. So I'm gonna clean this tray off, or some of it. So I made a big, big puddle, which was awesome. And I'm gonna pull some cerulean blue. I think this is cerulean. And put this on here. And let's look at this. There was a different one, this Valence blue. I wanted to see what this looked like. So I'm gonna put some of this on here to see. Maybe as it gets up higher in the sky, we'll have some of that going on. And the other thing I was gonna do was get some clean-ish water and just, ooh, uh-oh, that wasn't clean. Look at that. Crazy, right? We're gonna leave it in there. I think that would be good. I think that's going to be really nice in our sky. I don't know what was in my water thing, but wowzer, I did not expect that. So I have like a darker blue at the top, like that. And then I'm gonna go into my cerulean and kind of bring that in this way. Ooh, and I need to wipe out. It's one of the things I just totally forgot. Is I need to come in here and clean out the sail. The sail should not have color on it. So I'm going to lift that right from there. Clean that sail out. And there's the sail. A little whiter. It's nice because it's subtle. I didn't do anything too crazy with the sky. That brown sienna was really nice to lay in there first. I think it added quite a bit so that it's not just too blue. I think the warm in there is really, really nice. I'm gonna lift this up so you can see how crazy buckled this paint, this block is, and how much water we have in it. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. Maybe. You can kind of see it from there. It still doesn't give you the true idea, but it is like completely wonka, wonka, wonka. So crazy. So crazy. I need more black. So I've used all my black. I have a little bit of Payne's Gray in here. And I'm going to put, let's see, I think I'm just going to use the ivory. And I could mix it with the colors that I've got on this palette right now. But we need to do a couple things. One is, as his mouth recesses, it gets darker. So I'm going to take this Matter Deep and add some black to it. And then just do a little bit towards this back part right here. Right in the back of his mouth. Right there. That'll help a lot. I'm going to add a little bit of that to his gills that are going in here. And I don't know if it's dry enough yet. I do want to start adding a lot more depth and detail to the shark itself, his fins, and his shape. So I'm coming back in here. I've got a lot more pigment on my brush than I had before. And right along this edge, he's got this fantastic ridge line right there. It comes back to here. And we're going to add some turquoise and some blue and some Payne's Gray, a little bit of everything. Bring all these colors right back. You'll notice you can barely see where they were. Once we put that blue wash over there, everything got washed out. And I really want to bring it back again. So I'm just mixing and adding and putting some patterns into him that were there, but then we can't see where they were. Like even here I had a couple really dark marks right along the top of this fin. They disappeared completely. Okay, does anybody have a favorite shark movie? Any favorite shark movies? No? Come on, Peanut Gallery. Oh, I won't have to press this in the book. I just saw that, Lebowski. You said press it in a book. I don't have to press it in a book because as it dries, it's glued on all four sides. This is called a watercolor block, and it is glued all four sides, and so as it dries, it flattens. The only problem is that when it's this wet, things will bleed. So I have to really be sure I want to put a mark down before I do it, because it'll have a tendency to kind of like bleed out and start to get a little fuzzy. So there's a chance that these guys will soften up, but even if they don't, I'm okay with that if they stay like this, because I'll put a warm wash, maybe even with this, there's some yellow in this blue right here. This is a great color. That and some of this, and that would make a great warm gray. Let's put it together right here like this. Almost has like a green tone to it, that if I lay over top of this, it'll be just the color I want. But I've got to wait for it to dry enough, or I'll be sorry. See? Because then it might dissolve it too much. Maybe not. We'll try it. We'll throw it on there. But I have a feeling it's going to dissolve things. A little too much. I can lift some of it out. Put that back in. I do like the yellow tone to it a lot. And this needs to be warmed up, top of his head. So all the way through here. So he's starting to look better. He just needed a little bit of color and TLC once I got back to it. Now I gotta just wait. That's pretty much where we're at. We're at the waiting game. Put a little more darkness under the prow of the ship. Even that, I'm a little bit stuck right now, gang. Got a little swimmer. But he's not too shabby. And we are really, really finishing up fast tonight. Who knew that the Megalodon would be one of my fastest paintings out there? I think it definitely needs some dry time. You like shark tails? Oh, there you go. Okay, that's cute. That's a blast from my past. And Finding Nemo. Okay, we're going to the cartoon end. Like, the Meg isn't on your list. How about Jaws? No one's voting for Jaws? I don't know, I usually like a big scary shark. Although Finding Nemo, that's pretty adorable. Dory really stole this show though, but those sharks are great. If anybody remembers that scene. We're not old enough for those movies. Are you saying I'm showing my age? Is that what you're saying? Probably. All right, I think I might add a little more pattern in here. He does have some great patterns. Just so that it definitely, I want it to show for sure. So like that, when I bring this in here, And see how that stands out? I like that a lot. Okay, then this little back fin right here, what am I gonna do in that? Just kind of trying to ease some color into that. Same in here. And then those I have to soften. That had dried pretty well, so I gotta soften it a little bit. Just wet the edges. But I like this pattern going on right here with his tail. And I wonder, like, should I have anything in this water to kind of show some movement? I could even darken this up a little down here. Let's see if it'll kind of bring more movement into it. I think that did bring some movement right down there. A couple dark colors right there. Back to my turquoises. And there you have it. I think pretty much they weren't your favorite, huh? I think that's all we've got tonight, gang. I'm gonna lift this up so you can get a little better view of what's going on with our diver and our boat. There is our Megalodon. You get a better feel for what's going on in his body and his tail. This is still very wet. There's really not a lot I can do with it until it dries up. I will probably clean the teeth up a little bit and add a little bit of red onto them or make them pinky, but it's so wet I think I'll just make a mess if I work on them right now. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you had a great Shark Week. I hope you have a great Shark Weekend, and I will get some photo options for all of you who want to draw this dude. I'll get you some options up on FridayNightDinos.com. They are not there yet. I had a busy week. And with that, I'm out of here. So farewell, good night, and happy weekend. We're just finishing early tonight. Later, everybody.